Alright, hello everyone. I know it's been a while. Cut my hair, the schoolwork this semester has been a little bit more intense than I thought, so I haven't had a chance to create as many videos as I want, but I thought I would get to you guys today. I have a few minutes, so I thought I would talk to you guys a little bit about my next city that I visited after Lille, which was Rotterdam. And so, a little quick side note, on the way to Rotterdam, I went to this small town in Belgium called Anvers. Only spent time transferring there for trains, but the train station, it had 3 floors and 22 platforms, so it was quite a humongous transfer station, one of the bigger ones I had been to so far. And I remember when I got there, just looking down was like, holy crap, this is like Grand Central Station. It seemed like, but for them, everyone acted normal and was just like walking around like, oh yeah, just another huge train station, no big deal. So yeah, that train station was pretty nuts, but it was pretty cool to come in on the top floor and have to walk 3 stories down through train tracks to where my train was. So back to Rotterdam, Netherlands. I actually decided to come here because I figured it would be nice to go back to the Netherlands after leaving Jen, Mitch, and Lisa, or I guess they left me, and spending some time just in one spot for some time. So I spent 6 days, 7 days, 6 nights, 7 days, I think, in Rotterdam. So there's quite a few things. I'm not going to obviously touch on everything, but I thought I would touch on a few things that I did in Rotterdam. So I stayed at this hostel. I don't know if you guys can see it. This sticker I put in my journal here. Annie and Haken. It was a phenomenal hostel, new hostel that was just being launched, I think that summer or the summer before. And it was only about a 10-minute walk from the train station. And it was a design concept space. What did I write here? It was a design project for multi-use spaces, which is kind of what Rotterdam was known for. So the owners of the hostel had some designers come in. There was actually the designers came in when I was there at some point, and they literally just sat down and started talking about the space, and it was used to collaborate and make sure that people were talking in a very family-friendly environment. So I'm just going to read something. The hostel had a very family feel to it and a very social crowd of solo travelers. On top of that, the workers of the hostel were very close and extremely friendly. I think the second day I showed up there, I was kind of just hanging around talking to everyone, and there was a photo shoot happening for the bikes that they had received from a company, and they were doing a promotional photo shoot for the company. They thought they'd get some travelers to come to Grand Central Station and a couple other locations in the city and get photos of them on the bikes. So I was one of the models for that. That was only day 1 at Rotterdam in this hostel, and so right away I just immersed myself into traveling solo and just getting to know everyone, and it was completely re-energizing to a totally different change of pace compared to traveling with a group of people. It was just a whole nother style of traveling that I was starting to learn to enjoy. So my first full day there, Dan, Amy, Ali, Amy, and I went to the zoo, and we spent about 4 hours there. It was really cool because each person I was with was from a different continent except for Africa, and we were all speaking English. And the Amir was from Iran, and he had never been to a zoo, so we spent 4 hours there. It was a massive zoo. We spent basically till closing. I wish we had more time, and I'm sure Amir thought, you know, I wish we had bajillions of more time, because he was sitting there just going, like, dazing at everything that we looked at, and it was just an absolute hoot and a half. And so that was kind of the first thing we did. Most of the other days we spent just hanging out at the hostel. It was a super friendly environment, playing board games, so Catan, chess, Go. I met a guy, what's his name? I believe his name was, do I have it in here? Carrie, Alice, Will. His name was Will, and he was working on some job applications to work for a financial firm, Fannie Mac. And I remember he was super brilliant guy, designing all these kind of models on Excel. Now something I know how to do because I've been going to school, but at the time it was absolutely like just in awe by this guy. And he was starting to teach me how to play the game Go, which I didn't even know existed until I met him, and we taught for ages and ages about business and finances and all sorts of fun things. And there were tons of amazing other people who were there. John was a US war veteran. There was Amy, a girl from Australia. Diego was the guy from Brazil, loved playing the guitar. Honestly, there was just endless amounts of people. Matt was a computer engineering student who went to school in Canada, and he was a Canadian guy who grew up in Ontario. We hit it off, and all the sorts of things we did in Rotterdam were just phenomenal. And one of the days I was there was a Saturday, and we went on a free walking tour with the local architect that was part of the whole city planning process of rebuilding Rotterdam, because Rotterdam had been destroyed from World War II. Basically everything in it was brand new. So it was pretty impressive and really awesome to kind of get a tour from the guy who was essentially the head of the planning and city urban planning for Rotterdam, a very well-known and established town now in the Netherlands, and I'm sure it will only become a bigger attraction tourist-wise as the years pass. I can totally see it coming and being the next kind of Amsterdam feel. It's that same very flat, bikes everywhere, very just amazing town, lots of really cool architecture, the cube houses, the marketplace there, and just talking to the urban planner and the architecture about what was going on in the city at the time and how they decided to make certain decisions and why they did certain things was a really cool experience for me. And so that was kind of one of the days. And in the evenings, there was this wonderful girl from Texas at the hostel who would cook like these insane meals. So she was a worker at the hostel, and then we'd have like family style meals. And she was an amazing cook who cooked all this like southern food that I hadn't really tasted, and she did it very authentically according to what some of the American people were saying. And that was a really cool feel, because it was like for I think €4, €5, you got to put your name on a list, and you know 5, 10, 20 people depending on the night sat down together and enjoyed this meal and all got to socialize, and that really helped with the environment. And everyone started talking about what they were going to do the next day and the other days, and everyone started kind of asking if they could join in or if they wanted to bring other people and invite other people in. So the whole feeling of this hostel was just an amazing experience to be at, when it was the first place I'd really ever been alone traveling halfway across the world. So I kind of think there were some other things that I decided in Rotterdam. I think that was the beginning of the time when I had a lot of time to think about what I wanted to do with my life. And in Rotterdam, which would have been a year about or so today, I started to really flip and flop and turn about what I wanted to do with my life. I was like, I'm going to be in computer science when I left Rotterdam, and obviously now I'm still in business, so I think it's kind of changed every week is what I joke about now. But it's incredible that kind of back at Rotterdam was when I first made a drastic switch away from business, thinking, you know, I shouldn't be in business. But I think at the end of the day, through the whole process of traveling further from Rotterdam into South America and the rest of Europe, I started to realize all the opportunities that there were out there. Lastly, I just wanted to talk about Canada Day that I spent in Rotterdam. It was amazing. We played a whole like Settlers of Catan tournament, and this guy Stefan, who was from I think Slovakia, he was from Tech. He moved to Texas at a young age, and we were playing with him and Will and Dan and I, and we were all very strategic people, and we loved playing the game. So we played a whole tournament with everyone there. And I remember winning the tournament. Everyone thought I wasn't going to be a contender in the game, and that is for those of you who know how to play Settlers of Catan, it was quite an interesting experience, because it was the first time I realized the social aspect of the game and really just getting to know everyone. And it was really cool, because after winning, I stood up and I went upstairs and grabbed the necklace I had of all these Canadian pins that I collected from the 2010 Olympics, and I started handing them out to everyone. It's like Happy Canada Day, and you know, it was quite an awesome experience. And one of the things we had for dinner that night was this thing called capsalon, which was basically like poutine on crack. It was like French fries with cheese, not the cheese curds, not like traditional cheese curds, but cheese laid over that, and then on top of the cheese melted fries was basically an entire toppings of what you would put on a donair. So shaved off lamb, onion, iceberg lettuce, and all the sauces and toppings that come with that. So it was just an absolute phenomenal day for me, and Rotterdam was just a really awesome place, and I highly recommend it for everyone to go there. And it was just kind of a great start to my solo travel. So I'll talk to you guys a little bit more about the next place I visited as I ventured down south to Fort Sign to visit my relatives. So also spent a week there just to kind of collect my thoughts and organize meeting up with my family down in southern Germany. So I'll talk to you guys a little bit more about the first part of Pforzheim when I'm back next time, because I spent about 3 weeks there. So hope you guys are still enjoying these videos, and I'll see you guys on the other side.